All right, everyone, welcome to today's edition of the Fresh Takes podcast here with Russo and Felice, as always. I am Paul Russo, and across from me is Nick Felice. Nick, how are you doing today?
Woo!
Easy.
Who's pumped for another episode of the Fresh Takes podcast? It's a big episode. Everyone, get excited. We got another great show for you. Amazing topics. I'm excited to talk. Are you excited to talk about? Are you excited?
I am very excited today because we have another guest with us in the studio tonight. Across from me, next to you, is my brother Pat. Pat, how's it going? Welcome to the pod.
Thanks for having me, guys.
So, tell us a little bit, tell the guys a little bit, the viewers, a little bit about yourself, maybe a fun fact or two.
No fun facts. My name's Pat. I'm Paul's brother. They've been trying to get me on for a few weeks now. I've been working every night, but here I am.
That is true, and so without further ado, we'll take a brief overlook at today's topics. Nick, very excited, rocking his UNC.
I'm wearing the jersey just for Pat today. He's a North Carolina fan. I fucking hate North Carolina.
Easy.
But,
for basketball, UNC.
Yes, for basketball for UNC. Notre Dame's my team, but I'll wear this today. I don't even know who this is.
56 isn't even a number allowed by the NCAA. Yeah. So if you take a quick look with us here with what we got going on today, we have some Ohio State talk, probably the biggest news in sports really taking up right now. A little bit of localized but nationalized coverage of NASCAR at the Glen. Moving to our pop culture segment, August, a big month of movies. We'll take a look at what's coming out, what movies we want to see. The MLB post-trade deadline, some big moves made, and some still possibly coming up here with the waiver deadline at the end of this month in August. And, of course, the 100th PGA Championship.
Let's get this show going, Paul. I'm excited.
All right, so without further ado, then, we'll jump into the first topic, obviously being the Ohio State scandal going on right now with Urban Meyer and wide receivers coach Zach Smith, or former wide receiver coach Zach Smith. Domestic situation going on between him and his ex-wife. It's basically been going on now for really overall 3 years, give or take. And really has come to a head here in the past couple of weeks. Urban Meyer's on paid administrative leave. If you look at Ohio State's track record, that administrative leave may be a permanent deal. Urban Meyer has a long, interesting track record, if you will, of situations. If you start back even at Florida, really, the whole entire situation with Aaron Hernandez, there's a lot of stuff going on there, as we now know. And then currently at Ohio State, what's going on there, and some questionable decisions that he's made along the way. And I know, Nick, we've talked about this slightly in group chats, not really anything big as we've used to. So what are your thoughts really going in, at least from the broad scope of things?
Urban Meyer is a cheater. There's just no way around it. Urban Meyer has been caught in Florida with this type of stuff. He's been caught in Ohio State with this type of stuff. I try not to follow it as much because I'm not a huge Ohio State fan. I'm not a huge Urban Meyer fan. But I think our special guest has a really hot take about this today. And we're going to, I'm not in charge of the whole flipping over to the guy. But
yeah, but Pat, it's funny you mentioned that before we get to Pat. It's funny you mentioned that because Pat does have a long, interesting...
he does.
As someone who's
That's
known
why
him
he's here today.
the longest, he definitely has a long and interesting... we'll go with relationship with Ohio State.
Let it rip.
So Pat, what are your thoughts on the situation surrounding both Ohio State and Urban Meyer?
All right, so I've never been an Ohio State fan. Goes way back. They played Miami in a championship game back in the early 2000s.
There it is.
Wearing the Miami shirt. Goes back. Feel like Miami kind of got screwed out of it. Ohio State got a few calls. One which was a pass interference call. Never ever gets called for playing the receiver, not the ball. Ever since then, couldn't stand Ohio State football, basketball, anything. Couldn't stand the school. And now this entire thing, Urban Meyer just knows about the domestic incidents and chooses to do nothing, just adds to the hatred.
Yeah, so, you discussed that a little bit too, and as I mentioned, there's a bit of a history involving Urban Meyer and these not specifically domestic abuse and allegations of that sort, but he does have this track record, like I said, going back to Florida. He never exactly hid what Aaron Hernandez was doing, but he knew about it, and he definitely did not take the steps he needed to, given what we now know, unfortunately,
He'll
obviously.
do anything to win.
Well, and that's the case with many NCAA institutions, which
Yeah.
Ohio State does, but Ohio State has this interesting track record of firing or effectively telling people, okay, here's the deal. You either resign or get fired. They did that with Jim Tressel, which, unfortunately for me, I look at this and it's definitely for sure what Jim Tressel did, allowing his athletes to sell their gear or sign autographs in exchange for either tattoos or a meal or whatever. That's not that big of a deal to me. I mean, it's a different discussion on that end for a different day. But then you look at the most legendary coach in Ohio State history, Woody Hayes, punches a player and they fire him like essentially almost on the spot. So Ohio State has this interesting track record throughout their history of doing this with. It doesn't matter your status as a coach. They'll fire you if they need to. So
what do you think's next for Urban Meyer?
What's next? I don't know if I'll see, given what I think, I don't think you'll see him in Ohio State gear coaching on the sidelines this year.
Too, Pat.
No.
What's next?
This year he's done, but someone will pick him up as some sort of coordinator or coach. Someone's gonna blow right past his entire history of everything he's done and just put on the back burner like, all right, he's got a good football mind. We need him on this team.
That's unfortunately the type of deal you'll get every now and then, though, especially in college sports where, especially on the football side, you're fighting to beat Nick Saban. You're fighting to now beat Dabo Swinney. It's almost a cycle where it's the amateurism, as we've all known at NCAA, the amateurism is out the window. It's what can you do for me now? Not so much what you can do for me later, and we don't care about your past. And that's essentially the case. I feel like maybe not going on right now because Ohio State is investigating this and looking at it, but it's the case across college sports really in general. I mean, you look at what happened with UNC in the past couple of days. Their players selling shoes, team-issued shoes, which, again, I don't have a big issue with, but the NCAA does, because they're not getting that money. So now that falls on Larry Fedora. So now you have an interesting situation there, and you look at the track record, somebody's going to get Urban Meyer if he does leave Ohio State. It doesn't matter if, it doesn't matter where it's going to happen. And that's the type of deal you look at in this situation. And you got really any closing thoughts because it's a deep subject. We try not to get too serious, I think, on this podcast. Unfortunately, this topic, though, because of it being the major sports story, has taken up. So any final thoughts going forward?
I love you put me on the spot. Urban Meyer will never coach again.
Never.
It's a hot take.
It was a hot take.
It's a very hot take.
Yeah, that's Urban Meyer will never coach again. You heard it from me first.
Very hot.
That's
take.
all I really can say on it.
Nothing really. Just that I think it's almost laughable that you got a bunch of grown men and women coming out to the Ohio State campus and protesting everything that's going on.
That is true. I didn't really say it, but I saw a picture of someone had a loyalty sign, and I don't think they really realized what they did with that loyalty sign. But the two L's in loyalty were big, giant L's.
Yeah. And there's a bunch of people that are taking like beat Bama signs. Like that's not what this is about. This is a much deeper issue than winning a football game.
Definitely. So with that in mind, we'll go on to a major sport scene locally here this past weekend. And that, of course, was NASCAR down at Watkins Glen. Big win for Chase Elliott. Chase Elliott, the son of Bill, if you didn't know.
Is that a guy?
Yes, Chase Elliott is a guy. Drives the number 9 car for Hendrick Motorsports. So,
he drives a 24.
No. He switched numbers. William Byron's a 24 now. Yeah, crazy. Anyway.
Don't get him going.
Anyway, so Chase Elliott, big first win. Definitely really had probably the most, if not the second most dominating car of the race. Was able to beat out, in the end, Martin Truex Jr., but Kyle Busch was really on his rear bumper from halfway on. And unfortunately, at least from a micro scale, his win is kind of getting overshadowed by Brian France getting arrested for DUI and Oxycontin possession down in the Hamptons over the weekend. But certainly cool when you think about it to have a major sport such as NASCAR be such a really short distance away once a year. So I don't know how much you guys paid attention. I don't know what you guys have any thoughts, really, because this is the first win really all year outside of Truex, Busch, Kyle Busch, and Harvick all year.
Here's my take on NASCAR. So the CEO, am I hearing this correctly?
Yep. Brian, he is the CEO.
He got caught with a DUI.
Mm-hmm.
Yep, he ran a stop sign, which is how they got him.
The CEO of a car sport got caught with a DUI in a car.
Exactly.
That's not good.
With a sport who has a beer as their pole award, Busch Beer, and they preach drinking responsibly.
They need less beer sponsors, and they need more FingerLakes1.com sponsors.
I'd be with it.
Just one. We just need one sponsor.
Watkins Glen next year.
Yeah, there we
That'd
go.
be pretty cool to see it on the side of a car.
Maybe. Yeah, I think obviously the CEO story is definitely bigger than the Chase Elliott story.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean it's just it's cool for the state of New York to have a race like that, but it's just hard to watch. It's hard to watch at Watkins when you're there. I've never been there, but I've heard it's hard to watch. Pat, what do you think?
It's hard to watch a lot of races. You turn in left for 4 hours.
No.
When you're at the Glen, you take a few right turns. You see a car for 5 seconds, they're gone for the next minute.
They do have TVs up everywhere.
Yeah, but they're not right in front of you. It just gets boring.
That's a lie.
I've fallen asleep at races before.
We were
7 and 8. I don't care that I was 7 years old. If you're a 7-year-old falling asleep with cars going like 190 miles an hour that loud, 43 of them, come on.
Fair point.
Not that interesting of a sport.
Fair point.
That's just my opinion. I don't like NASCAR at
What's
all.
better, NASCAR or lacrosse?
What a hot
They're
topic
both
issue.
they're both equally as horrible. I'm just kidding. If I had to pick one, lacrosse.
I go
Wow.
NASCAR.
If I had to pick one, lacrosse.
NASCAR.
Lacrosse.
NASCAR.
Lacrosse is
NASCAR
far
wins.
more
NASCAR
exciting.
Wins.
But we touched on a couple podcasts earlier. Like we discussed kind of like the midway point in NASCAR, and I think I even brought up Chase Elliott and what's the deal going to be with these Chevrolets, and they kind of finally broke through in a way the past couple weeks with a lot of their setups, chassis wise, engine wise, which and even to me, I don't know much about it. You definitely don't know really anything about it. But certainly interesting that we kind of discussed it, and you're kind of seeing some interesting things here going on with stuff we discussed. It's pretty cool, I think.
It's going to be a great stretch here, the final stretch of the regular season here in NASCAR.
What do they got? Like 18 races left?
No.
20?
15.
We don't need those
all right.
sarcastic comments,
All right.
Pat.
15 Sundays I won't be watching NASCAR.
Well, there's a few Saturdays.
Go Bubba.
15 weekends I won't be watching NASCAR.
All right, well, speaking of NASCAR, we'll switch some gears then and head
Please.
into our pop culture topic for the week, and that is, of course, the movies of August coming out. It seems as though this month really is kind of a big deal for movies. You don't really see that often in the summertime. A lot of movies come out, and there are a lot of exciting ones, in my opinion, coming out. Spike Lee's coming out with his big movie. A lot of people are calling it his best movie he's come out with yet. Jordan Peele, producer of Black Klansman, which is based on a true story. A movie I want to watch because I just like stupid movies. The Happy Time Murders. Melissa McCarthy's in it. Stanley from The Office is in it.
Oh, you're talking about the puppet movie?
Yes, the puppet
The
movies.
adult Muppets.
So I'm really excited about some of these movies coming
You said
out.
Spike Lee wrote that?
Black Klansman.
Black Klansman's a Spike Lee joint.
He didn't write the Happy Time Murders.
No.
He didn't write the adult Muppets.
Thank God. I would have lost respect for Spike Lee.
But there's a lot of big names, bring up Black Klansman. A lot of big names even in that. You have Topher Grace, a.k.a. Eric Foreman. He plays David Duke in that movie, which is really weird to me anyway. Jordan Peele, I think I mentioned, he's the producer of Black Klansman. Adam Driver's in Black Klansman. Like I said, Happy Time Murders. You got Melissa McCarthy in it. You have Joel McHale in it. The guy who plays Stanley. Maya Rudolph's in Happy Time Murders as well. Nick, anything jump out to you?
I can't believe it's August.
No.
The big movie of August is Slender Man.
That's a fair point.
I like it.
Slender Man is he's not that scary. I don't know. I mean, Pat's a big Slender Man guy.
Yeah. Well, I mean, growing up, we always heard the folklore about that stuff, and we even watched like TV and like YouTube series and stuff about it.
Hornets.
All that stuff. and we got really interested into it. So I would really like to go see the movie. It seems real good.
Still don't know who To the Ark is.
No, we kind of left on
Another movie. Sorry to interrupt.
No, you're good.
Thanks. The Meg.
No,
before,
that looks horrible.
Now, before you jump out right into this, is it bad that anytime I hear the Meg lately, I've just assumed a Family Guy?
Really? I
Yeah.
think of Drake
Meg.
and Josh.
But that's Megan.
But that's Megan.
They don't call her Meg.
Yeah, I don't know why I hear that then.
Yeah.
But the Meg, you were talking about Stanley from The Office.
Yep.
How about Dwight from The Office? A better Office character
Rainn Wilson is
in a
in it.
better movie.
No, the Meg just looks horrible.
Rainn Wilson is in it.
Wait. Can we go to Pat?
Yeah, sure.
And say that the Muppet movie is better than the Meg.
Pat
No.
Mesiti.
The Meg will be better, but they're both going to be bad.
Okay.
I'll say they're both going to be bad.
Yeah.
Another one to look out for is The Spy Who Dumped Me.
Yeah, that came out a couple of days ago. Yeah.
Why are we not talking about Christopher Robin or Mile 22?
So, yeah,
Are you kidding me?
Mile 22 comes out
See, I'm a
Towards the end of
later on. Yeah,
August.
that comes out August 17th.
But still, Mile 22, Mark Wahlberg, that's also based on
Mark
a true
Wahlberg
story.
is the most overrated actor.
Okay, here
Most
we go.
overrated
And I'll
actor.
say, this is a take. I'll give it all on you then.
The dude is in like 3 movies a year.
They're all good,
His
though.
best movie
Fair
is
point on
Ted 2. Not Ted, Ted 2. And that movie was just terrible.
Ted, how do you think the best movie on the
Dude,
Ted
easy.
series alone was Ted 2?
Easy. Yeah, really.
Ted 2.
No, Ted was better.
The original Ted was
Mark
way...
Wahlberg's best movie. It makes no sense. But Mark
Yeah, it
Wahlberg
doesn't.
is overrated.
All right, take it easy. Mile 22 is going to... I don't like him in, like, comedies. That's why. If he's in an action movie, it's going to be good. Christopher Robin, though, just came out Friday. This
Yep.
past Friday.
Same thing with The Spy Who Dumped Me.
I know. I don't know how I feel about the whole live-action Winnie the Pooh stuff.
Yeah, it's kind of throwing me off.
I know.
What about
Like,
Dog
I don't know
Days?
if I'd go see it. What?
Dog Days?
Oh, hold on. There was
Vanessa
another one about
Hudgens?
dogs. There was another one about dogs.
There's another dog
was
movie
it?
coming out this month? Oh.
Yeah, there was.
Pick of the Litter or something like that.
Oh, yeah.
That
Pick of the
okay.
Litter.
First of all, it follows 5 dogs from being puppies into being like blind service dogs, and that just sounds awesome. You follow the life of a dog from it being a puppy into it leading blind people around.
That's pretty
pretty cool.
Yeah. So,
Like,
That's cool.
definitely go see that.
it is really weird because we kind of discussed pop culture wise last week or the last episode, Comic-Con, and a lot of movies for next year come out, and usually the summertime you don't get a ton of movies coming out, but this year you have a lot, specifically in August.
Good
Wait,
year movies.
Yeah, it's a pretty good crop, I think, of movies overall. I think there's a lot of movies that have the taste for really anyone. If you want comedy, you got comedy. If you want action, you got action. If you want drama, you got drama. If you want horror, you got horror. I think it's a really good mix of movies coming out this month that have come out that will have the taste for a lot of people, which you really normally don't see, I think, in a lot of months.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. So that's pretty cool, and hopefully we'll be able to get out, catch a few as a group, I would hope. I know Pat, if you didn't know, he's pursuing still some college degrees, still working on his graduates.
Oh, you don't say.
Mad props to him.
Should that have been the fun fact at the start?
Potentially. We might have messed that up for you. I apologize.
Yeah, really.
So with that, we'll shift again back to the sports realm. The MLB post deadline for the trades has come upon us. We are now officially into the dog days of August. Big names were moved. Obviously, the last podcast we discussed Manny Machado. But I think the biggest name really overall involved the Pittsburgh Pirates of Nick's fandom over there. Chris Archer. I think the Pirates were potentially the biggest winner of this deadline, getting Chris Archer from the Rays. I said potentially, Pat. I see your face over there.
It's not even potentially. The Dodgers clearly won it.
Well,
Go to Pat. Go to Pat.
Well,
We got a hot take. We got a hot take.
They just
take-
beefed
I'll
up the
take
middle
over.
infield and Manny Machado and Brian Dozier, and you have the audacity to say it's the Pirates getting just Chris
Hey.
Archer? Not saying it wasn't a good deal.
Go to the Pat Nick screen. Yeah, here we go. Hot take. Listen,
Let's hear
the
it.
Pirates are the winners of the deadline, and you know it.
Did you get Machado and Dozier, though?
No.
There you go.
We got Chris
End of
Archer,
story.
who's a top 5 pitcher in the game.
But you didn't get
At the deadline,
you're going to get 2 top middle infielders.
top 5 deadline pitcher is what I wanted to say.
Congratulations.
The Dodgers have like $500 gazillion. The Pirates have like $5.
Now,
and
what does
Chris
that have to do
Archer.
with trades? What does that have to do with trades?
Well, it's gonna be yeah, he won that. He won that.
Got him.
And we also got Keon Keela, the closer for the Texas Rangers. What did the Dodgers do in the bullpen?
That was a fair point on Nick. The Dodgers did not, I think, beef up.
They have Kenley
Arm.
Jansen.
But they didn't beef up, I don't think, arm-wise the way they should have. I think
Yeah, but did they beef up?
But did they not get Manny Machado and Brian Dozier?
They needed a back-end starter, I think. Which
They got a lot more power, though.
is a fair point. But
He's
It's
definitely
hard to
making
beat
some
a team.
fair
They're putting up 11, 12 runs. Like, their lineup easily can.
all right, fair point.
points. He's like killing the game. Like he absolutely just murdered me.
I mean, playoff stuff's come down to pitching. Don't get me wrong. But if you got an offense playing up 11, 12 runs, it's going to be hard to take them out.
So, who do you guys feel? For me, anyway, I think I don't know if they're. It's hard for me to put the two teams as losers behind one another. So I'll go with my 1A and 1B losers at the deadline.
Okay.
Were the Nationals and the Mets. Nationals literally did nothing. They DFA'd a guy because he got mad for giving up a hit. So they DFA'd him for whatever reason.
he did throw his glove
Yeah.
like a little baby.
I mean, I was going to say the Yankees are pretty big losers in this deal. That's coming from a Yankees fan.
That's a fair point.
Really?
Yeah, you have potential, and the only thing you move to get is Lance Lynn.
Lance Lynn, though, has been a nice pickup so far.
I just love the
But
way
you
he
couldn't
said
move
that.
Sonny Gray, who has like 3 quality starts since we got him last summer.
Lance Lynn.
The only move the Yankees could make was for Lance Lynn.
Yeah. Jay Happ though.
Jay Happ, okay, and then the second they get him, he gets sick and he's out.
That's true.
So, I mean, granted, that's just like you can't see it coming, but still.
Well, speaking of hand, foot, and mouth disease, you have the Mets who literally did not move
Syndergaard,
anything. Or Mats, or Wheeler.
They're throwing other
What are
chips
they
at
doing?
pitching.
But still, what are they doing? You could still have given up something or someone and try and rebuild in some degree, right? Like,
Let's just keep in mind, this was a Mets team that, when fully healthy, went to the World Series 3 years ago.
yeah. But they also had a first baseman then.
I mean, whenever they're healthy, though.
All right?
And when they're healthy.
I feel like you're basing most of that off of just pitching, though. Not.
Well, yeah,
The
the
people
pitching's what
behind them.
carried them in the first place.
All right, fair point. Nick?
The loser of the deadline, since this is a brother,
Is the Pirates.
yeah. Since this is a brother
I see where he's going.
no, you're not.
brother friendly episode.
I see where he's going.
Jeez.
I have a brother.
Oh, God.
His name's Matt Felice, who will be on the show sometime. And
You're gonna throw
the
his team in
loser
there.
of the deadline is the Seattle Mariners.
Wow.
That's his team, and they
Wow.
should have gone after a starter. Can you guys have you checked out the standings lately?
Yes.
No, I really
The
haven't.
Mariners are tumbling. I'm pretty sure they're behind the Detroit Tigers now.
I don't want to go that far.
Yeah, don't
I
go
mean, the
that-
Yankees are tumbling too, but they're still in the wild card spot, so.
The Mariners should have gone after a starter. They need a starter. They need a starter, and they didn't get one, and now they're stuck with Mike Leake.
Okay.
Fair point. But however, like we have on here on the title part here, there is one more deadline ahead, which is the waiver wire deadline. We already saw one deal already with the Oakland A's getting Mike Fiers from Detroit via the waiver wire. So there's still potentially some names coming out here. Who do you see team-wise making a move here on the wire?
Just another point. The Pirates did make a move on the waiver wire.
Okay.
They
wasn't
picked
big.
up shortstop Denny and Chevalier.
Oh, that's true. They did
From
get
Tampa Bay.
Echeverria.
Yep, they did get him. Forgot about that
They just
His
got
name was longer than his MLB career.
at the moment. Fair
Starting
point.
to bring in the heat.
No, I was gonna say a couple deals that flew under the radar were both by the Phillies. trading for Wilson Ramos
That's a fair point.
and as Drupal Cabrera.
That is true. The Mets.
Those are a couple deals that just flew right under the radar. When Ramos comes back,
When you get-
adding
yeah.
a power bat at the catcher position,
and
moving Santana to first base.
as good. Santana's already at first.
I figured he was behind the
But
plate.
as good as good.
Say.
Well, they have a good catcher there, rookie Jeffrey Alfaro, who's done really well so far. But
learning under Ramos.
But no, that's the thing. They got him to help him. But more importantly, especially down the stretch, you got a veteran presence behind the plate to help that young staff out moving forward. So
I mean, that's a deal that flew completely under the radar from
Pat,
everyone.
are you saying the Phillies are going to win the World Series?
No. It's going to be whichever experienced team finds a way out of the NL is going to be the one that represents the NL.
So the Phillies.
Phillies are too young. Braves are too young. They'll be knocked out.
Are the Phillies too young? Wilson
Yes.
Ramos, Carlos Santana, Jake Arrieta.
Okay.
I feel like I'm making
You
some
got,
good points here.
3 guys.
Paul, back me
You
up
know,
here.
there's 37 other guys on this 40-man roster.
I'm
They're
liking
probably
this
under
right
the
now.
age of 28.
yeah. But hey, the best part about baseball is we still got a long way to go, and you just don't know exactly what's going to happen. Especially when we got one more deadline coming up trade-wise. You had Verlander get moved last year, and that was a big piece down the stretch. Nick,
One more hot take.
quick before
Oh,
because we
geez.
have to shift gears
And I got-
before you have to get out
And I
of
got
here.
something. All right. But
Yeah.
the 2 Pennsylvania teams will be in the NLCS.
That's a really bold take, in my opinion.
That's extremely bold
And
considering the Pirates have to climb out of a big hole.
All right, so before we get out here, we need to touch on the final golf major of the year, the PGA Championship at Bellerive Country Club over in St. Louis, Missouri. The biggest names in golf. It's a relatively stacked field, top to bottom. Here coming forward here at Bellerive. Nick, me and you have a nice little bet from the U.S. Open.
Still gotta pay that off.
That's true. So who do you expect? Because we look at what happened over at the British Open, and a lot of top contenders were floating there. Some people didn't do as good as others. That's certainly the case. And you had a nice hot hand of Francesco Molinari win there. So what do you expect here coming to the PGA Championship?
Brooks Koepka, no doubt.
not even going to try and go anywhere else with him or anyone else. You're stuck on Brooks Koepka.
You love your Brooks Koepka.
Brooks Koepka. Didn't pick him in the U.S. Open. I'm pissed.
You-
Should have. Would have won that bet.
That's true.
You like
And
your Brooks Koepka,
I love
dude.
Brooks Koepka. The man's jacked.
He is jacked.
That's your reason for picking him?
Yeah, sure. Who's your pick, Pat?
Yeah, Pat, who do you got?
Yeah, Pat.
John Rahm.
John Rahm?
John Rahm. John Rahm.
Nice long,
No.
nice long-running joke with us here on the pod now.
John Rahm is a good player. Please
Oh, yeah?
stop picking on John Rahm.
You're the one that picked him.
Yeah,
And
you
lost.
left me with Dustin Johnson.
Yeah. I'm not going to let him take Dustin. I'm going to take Dustin. I know nothing about golf, so we're going
he stole
Dustin.
Dustin.
I mean, he can still pick Dustin, but I'm going
He's
Dustin.
jacked.
You're on
too.
Dustin.
I'm going Dustin. Wait, did you say it was being played in Missouri?
St. Louis. Yep.
God.
A lot of good golf courses out in Missouri.
Dude, but Missouri?
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, Missouri.
I'm going
tough
Dustin.
place.
We're on Dustin.
Going Dustin.
If you're going to leave me, then I will take the hot hand of Francesco Molinari.
That's a terrible pick.
Yeah, I'll take the hot hand. I took the hot hand last
Pick
time.
Ricky.
No,
Is
it
it
might
a-
be Ricky's time. I do like Ricky. It might be his time. I
Is
think.
it a hot take to say Tiger will not make the cut?
I don't think it's as hot as you probably would think.
Tiger's winning.
No, he's not making the cut. You wait.
I think he'll make the cut, but I don't
No.
think he'll be that. I don't think he'll be as good as he's been. I think he might regress a little bit back to like the mean.
Nah, that back's going to act up, and he ain't going to do nothing.
Interesting take. I kind of like it. Nick, any final thoughts here?
Time
on
for the
golf?
big finish here.
Well, no, you got any final thoughts for golf here, quick before we
Final
transition?
thoughts for golf. Okay. I'm just excited to see a good major here. Sucks I work on Sunday, so I can't watch the end again. Oh no, I can. It's in Missouri. So yeah, you don't care about my problems anymore. So
Do you know where Missouri is on a map?
Nick, if we gave you a map right now, could you point to where Missouri is?
Yes, I had Miss Lowell in 9th grade. I know where Missouri is.
I don't know if you do, bud.
All right. So with that in mind, we'll kind of make ourselves on out of here for the day. We'll start, though, quick with Pat. Who do you got any shout-outs to today?
Can I give a quick shout out to my fellow counselors that decided to take a little time and watch this tonight? So
We
thank you
appreciate
guys.
them.
Shout
Thank
out.
you, guys. Nick, we know you got some shout-outs as always. Who you got?
Do I? Shout out my mom.
Kathy.
Shout out Mrs. Felice. She is like the team
Legend.
mom everywhere.
She's a legend.
Shout out mom. Please make me some dinner after this.
Because we know you can't make it yourself.
Wow.
Lunchables.
All right, so with that in mind, we will catch you guys next time in a couple weeks on the Fresh Takes podcast. It will be 21st. We are hoping to do a very football-centric podcast that day.
Go Browns.
Are you ready for some football?
Go Browns.
With that in mind, we will carry ourselves on out. We hope you guys have a fantastic week and weekend, and we'll catch you next time on the Fresh Take podcast.